The 26th of June is commemorated as the International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking. And on the day, one NGO called for harsher sentences for drug dealers. The organization World Changes Candidates says at the moment, South African sentences around drug crimes and the subsequent penalties are very lenient. I'm joined in studio by spokesperson for World Changes Candidates, Lucas Mahlakgane. Ntate Mahlakgane, thank you so much for joining us on News at Prime. Let's just talk a little bit about the work that you've been doing for World Changes Candidates. I mean, this NGO has been around for over 2 decades now. How would you categorize South Africa's drug problem?
Good evening, Masa, and good evening to the viewers out there as well. I was hoping that before we get into the interview, we'd have some positive news from the Proteas. Unfortunately, sadly so, no. But yeah, coming to our NPO, World Changes Candidate, we've been in the industry, would you call it, for over 2 decades, like you said, and we're focusing on 4 things. One, we create awareness about the dangers of drug and substance abuse, and then we advocate prevention. And then for those that have issues with the drug problems, we do referrals to recovery centers. We take them through the recovery centers. But before we go to the recovery centers, we have a program called an aftercare. That's the one where we design what we're going to do with this person when they come back, because that is why you find most people failing when they go into the rehab center, they relapse again. It's because there was never a proper aftercare program that is that. So over the years, when we have been doing that, we just realized, you know, we just going in circle. I mean, there was a study that was conducted recently that shows that in 2002, there were like only 2% of people that were admitted for addiction. But in 2017, the 10%, we're talking about 10% of the population in the country. So from the 2%, it jumped to the 10%. Now from the 2017, it has just spiraled out. And I was looking at the clip that you played earlier on in Carolina.
Yes.
And if one was to drive around the country, those are the scenes that you have seen. I mean, talking about the addiction. And this is how it came about. It came about that when the borders were just like porous, then the drugs were coming like in numbers, and then the prices went down. So you could, I mean, when you're talking about the 2002, so probably that's when people that could afford drugs then. I mean, remember one of the people that we helped, Kabelo Malwarane, when he came out in the story to say, I used to blow about 3,000 rands a week. That was like a lot of money. But today, the amount of drug that people get, you get a drug for 5 rand. There's something that is even more dangerous now in the township. They call it you kiss, you marry. It's like
what is that now?
They don't even know what is in that. It's a concoction that's in there. But once you smoke, you're married, you get addicted immediately. That's why they call it you kiss, you marry. And they actually making fun out of it. It's killing a lot of young people, that drug. Nobody knows what it is. And then that's why it's even difficult to take them through the recovery centers, because they don't even know what sort of treatment you're going to admit on that kind of a person, because they don't even know what it is. And one of the things that's killing young people is because they happy to have wherever from the people that are selling them have it raw. They're thinking they're buying weed, but there's a lot of things that going into that weed. You know, after the weed was legislated, kids just thought, now we can throw a party. That's why they throw a party at Leondale High School.
Which is one of the projects that you intervened in as well there. And I want us to also talk about the effects on high school learners. I mean, you were at Leondale Secondary School there after that Dacha party as well, as your NGO doing the work that you do in schools as well. What trends are you seeing? Is it younger and younger people? Is it different drugs, like you're mentioning now, this new one, you kiss, you marry? Yeah,
I wish, you know, sometimes you could just go to that school and then just go and do and interview the kids and see how we have turned the school around. We just, unfortunately, our NGO is not funded. We just wish we could implement the same program throughout all the schools, because if we were to go there, we have changed those kids, most of those kids that were involved into that party, into world changers. They are like our ambassadors. You should see the message that they were doing. They're actually working in the communities, talking to their peers, talking the same language. So if we had that and we replicate it through, because the kids now admit that, you know, forget about the June 16, what the generation of June 16 did. We're facing a new enemy now, which is like drugs. I mean, the drugs are really ravaging the country. And what is more sad is the fact that you know, the country is like it's normal. I mean, you don't see anyone being outraged. We are the country in the sub-Saharan country. We are the biggest drug market, and nobody says anything. Before even saying that, let me just go back to what we did on the 26th of June on World Drug Day. We did two things, and fortunately enough, we had a church. I must really thank them, Breakthrough Family Ministries. They allowed us when we actually proposed to them because to say we want to launch this petition, and this petition, for it to work, it needs prayer. This is not our first petition. The first petition that we had was the Bella Bill, when the Bella Bill Clause 8, Section 8A, that seeks the schools to sell alcohol at school for fundraising purposes. We started a petition then, and it was those kids from the school that pushed the petition. They got the petition signed. We raised about 3,700 signatures. So we sent it to the Basic Education Portfolio Committee to say we are against this Clause 8, Section 8A, that we cannot allow our schools. And we were invited to do oral submission, and it was not that easy. Even this one, that's why we needed the prayer from the church, and Breakthrough Ministries came through for us to say we are with you in prayers on this day. And you know what? We believe in God. We're thinking there will be a solution. Hence, we are saying now we're pleading to the government. The president, in his inaugural address, he said we would never rest until all the criminals are out of our streets, all the drugs are out of our communities. So we are saying, you know, he's been talking, so let's hold him accountable. We're waiting for him to appoint the new Minister of Justice and Correctional Services, and we are appealing to the nation to say, go on change.org and sign the petition. We need, I mean, just last week, there was that petition that was signed about the DA guy that was a racist as well. So we need more numbers than that. Go to change.org as I'm speaking to you now and sign the petition. So that as soon as the president appoints the new Minister of Justice and Correctional Services, we say, here is the agenda. Here are the people that are saying the laws must change. Because currently, our law says if you are found in possession of drugs, it doesn't even talk about quantities. If you are found in possession of drugs, you could be. And it says you could be, and you must read the law, that clause clearly. You could be fined. That's the discretion of the judge and the magistrate. That's why it opens the loopholes, because then you can always be behind the scene and say, I'll give you so much, and then you can only operate within the law. But if we say, let's strengthen the law, because the judges, the magistrate, they can only operate within the law. That's why everyone take advantage of our constitution, even Section 35 on the Bill of Rights. You can go in there, it will protect you as well, even if you are a criminal. So we are saying the nation now must come together. Instead of saying, let's celebrate 30 years of democracy, let's review the 30 years of democracy. How has it been? Has it worked for us? In the 30 years that we've been in, we have seen now kids just have turning into drug addicts. I mean, we are carrying the most drug addicts in the world now. You know, I was saying to the Central Drug Authority on the 26th to say, I wish we could have a Google car like what they did before World Cup. Just drive around and show the nation and go to the parliament and play that, because when you're driving in the street, those are the scenes that you're going to catch. So what kind of a nation are we saying? We are a developing nation when we are actually going down street like that.
You know, Dr. Mahlakgane, we also, according to SADC as well, they're saying that South Africa's drug consumption is actually double the world norm as well. And you're calling on from World Changes candidate for harsher sentences from the work that you've been doing over the past 2 decades as well. What are you seeing? What kind of sentences? Yes, there could be a fine, there could be a 5-year imprisonment, but what are you seeing on the ground? What are these alleged drug dealers getting away with?
Hence, I'm saying it's the law issue. Even if they get arrested, I mean, throughout this week, there has been a lot of cases. There was even an attorney in Cape Town that was caught at court with drugs. That's how lenient, that's how they thinking in this country is just like a picnic. And in other countries, let's just quote a simple story that is now running in the media. The Botswana citizen that was caught in Bangladesh with just a minimal of that, and then he's been sentenced to death. We're not calling for death sentence, because in South Africa we know we don't have that. But we are saying, can life be life? When you're saying you sentence this, and also in the law they must consider the quantities to check. I mean, you get a person that say there was a drug bust for over billions of rands worth of drugs. That's a lot. Check what other countries are doing in terms of the quantities. I mean, a year ago, there was like other gentlemen that were caught. They say it was a spoonful. I can't remember that country, what that country was, but they were also sentenced to that. That's a spoonful because they understand the lethal of drugs, because when you say you kiss, you marry, when you start there, you are already addicted as well. So it's kind of, and on the 26th also, that's another thing. The United Nations on Drug and Crime, the UNDOC, they released a statement to say there is a drug that is coming from Afghanistan, and they say it's a synthetic drug. We don't know what that is. A synthetic drug. They said it's more lethal than cocaine and heroin. So when it comes to South Africa, you know what's going to happen. What we are seeing now is going to be picnic. So if we're thinking we are in the reality, and we need to wake up as a country, you know, just like what we did during the COVID-19, when they were saying there is this thing that is coming, close the borders. We waited until people started dying. So go on the website of the United Nations on drug and crime and see what they're warning there. They released that statement on the 26th to say the nations must be aware of this drug that is coming from Afghanistan. It's a synthetic drug. We don't know what the synthetic drug is. But because of our porous borders, where it will soon land in here, and then it's going to create havoc. The issue with the drugs is you can't experiment because there is no guarantee that you will recover. There's no guarantee that you will recover. Once you start, the ones that we have helped, like we are saying, at the school, at Leondale School, if you could go in there and check the ambassadors. By the way, one of them actually went on the best diplomat, which is like a markup of the United Nations, and go and discuss issues, how young people are facing difficult that they are facing in the country. He went there to record a 90-year-old who was also a leader of that group as well. So we have turned the school around. And can you imagine if we were to go around the schools nationally as World Changers candidate, we will change the world one soul at a time through these kids, because they are very energetic. They just need to be given a direction.
But what happened to the Central Drug Authority that's under the Social Development Department? What's their role, and what are they doing?
They've been very supportive, I must say. I mean, it's everywhere where we're having outreach programs. They coming, they send in the message, and they also came on the 26th to sign the petition as well, to say, you know what, you do your part. You got to understand, because they're part of the government as well, but we are the civil society organization. As civil society organization, we just talking to the people on the ground. So we are saying they are giving that kind of a support. They are saying whatever that you are doing, you continue on that. That's why they came to support us on the 26th of June, even though they had other commitment, but they also still came to the church to come and send the petition, because our petition was not just a signature, but it was also a prayer, because we believe that the petition is a prayer to the authority. When you praying to God, you saying to God, please, can you do this? So even with the petition, it's not a confrontation with the government. It's a prayer to authorities to say, please, can you change these laws? The laws were made by human beings, by the way, and then they can be changed by human beings. There's nothing that's cast in stone. Whatever that is not working for the nation, why can't we change it?
So when we change those laws as well, what do we do about the problem of some alleged officers who are allegedly involved in this drug industry as well? Because there is the element of corruption. And when you do go into these areas where there's a lot of drug abuse as well, and you ask community members, why aren't you reporting this to, and you know where the drugs are being sold, you know who the drug dealers are, why aren't you reporting this to the SAPS? And a lot of them will tell you that, look, there's no point, because we've seen them in those very backyards. We've seen some of them working and colluding with these very same drug dealers. So let's say we do change those laws. What do we then do about those officers who are seen to be colluding with those very same drug dealers?
If we change the laws, we will win the war. We will nip it in the bud, because the law says if you are found in possession, we're not saying you are selling or whatever. If you just like, that's how other countries are actually like dealing with the drug dealers, because if you are found in possession, it doesn't matter who you are. I mean, there are a lot of South Africans that are being killed in other countries. If you were to check on the statistics of this so-called the drug mules, they don't come back. So because other countries, they change the law to if you are found in the position. So even when you are an officer or a government official, it doesn't matter who you are. But if you are found in the position of drugs, that's what the law then applies. And the law says if you are found in that, you go for life. Who wants to go for life? And by the way, we also had an advocate who came to support us as well and advise us to say, you know, when we are saying no parole, no what is it?
Bail.
No bail, no parole. He said, but the parole law also has to change, because the parole is because people, our prisons are full. So what do you do with the people that are in there? So even a person, that is why you have like people who come and offend again and again and again, because they just have to be done based on the law that says you have to go on parole. It doesn't mean that you have actually been dealt with and you're back to a normal person again. So, but if we deal, hence we are saying our petition says let's go for the law. Yeah. We are saying if you are found in position, whether you are a massa or you're anybody else, but you are found in the position, the law deals with you. And then you actually giving power to the judges, to the advocate, to the magistrate to say, this pen is funded. I mean, that, you know, when you look at the case of this Botswana national, they don't even talk about the quantity. They said she was found in possession of drugs, then she's sentenced to death, period. They're not talking about how much, how many. There's no court in there. They don't talk about the rights, your what rights you have got, and that you have just found into this whole thing. Therefore, your intention was to come and kill our nation. And that's another thing where I've been asking to say, if in Afghanistan there is that law, and you find an Afghanistan citizen in South Africa in possession of drugs, shouldn't their law apply even in our laws? You know what I'm saying?
Before I let you go, you know, we're running out of time, and I know this is a very big and a very important topic that we're discussing now as well. But earlier you made mention of, you know, in President Cyril Ramaphosa's inauguration speech, when he was talking about ridding, you know, of illicit trafficking and drugs and crime and things like that. This isn't the first time that we've heard the president say something like that when it comes to drug abuse or when it comes to GBV or other problems as well. Do you believe him this time around?
Hence we are saying, you see, if we study with the process. We are saying we go to the Minister of Justice and Correctional Services. We present the numbers. You know, when we're going through the president, because the ultimate goal of the petition is to go to the parliament, and that's where it will end up. It must end up at the president as well. So, but we have to go through the process of the Justice and Correctional Services. Then it must go to the cabinet and then to the parliament. And we are hoping now, when they put this government together, there would be those people that have the same voices as ours. I mean, we thinking Patriotic Alliance has been very vocal on drugs as well. We hope when they get there, they would say, there is this NPO that is coming with this kind of a petition. We support the petition. We are just appealing to everyone that is even in Parliament, unlike what we actually confronted with when we were going to the Bella Bill, where we were also told about the school in Venda that has got a wall that can be used as a disco over the weekend, then they can generate money out of that. You look at those kind of arguments and say, but who in the world, as a parent, come with a law like this? So we are also saying to the people that are going to Parliament, whoever that is going to be appointed by the president to go in there, please remember our words, and we want to hold the president accountable. And holding the president accountable, so you as the media used to call us back again. We are going to update you to say, we have got so many signatures, now we are going to the parliament, or we have sent it to that, we are waiting for them to respond, and that's the only way we can hold our parliament accountable. We
and
just
that
need
we
to follow through.
Really appreciate you coming into studio and sharing some insights on this very important topic and the work that you do.